our spirit. What is it? Where does it go? Are we able to see them using our mind's eye? If so, just what can Spirit teach us? Welcome to School Through Spirit. Host DeEtte Renee is a certified psychic medium and master teacher of psychic and mediumship development through LWISSD. DeEtte was born knowing Spirit and now is here to help you better understand the spirit world. And now your host, DeEtte Renee.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. This is DeEtte here on School Through Spirit with the Edge Network, coming to you every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Just to enlighten some lives this week through words from Spirit to see what comes through. What do we all need today? I want to tell you, as we all know, I'm going to start the morning with a little bit of Neil Donald Walsh and some inspiration and see what Spirit adds to that. We are going to go on to our 5-card stud, which is this deck, The Wisdom of the Oracle Divination Cards by Collette Baron-Reid, which I will tell you I'm excited about. And normally I don't do this. Normally I don't show another set of cards if it's not their day to highlight. And the reason I'm doing it is because this lady inspired the heck out of me this weekend. I have read for her before. I've spoke to her before. I've been at other events with her before, and she's just such an inspiration. And she's created one beautiful deck of cards that she's had out there for a while. And I want to show you those. Feel free to go buy them. Feel free to go look them up. Feel free to do it all. I just want to show them, but we're not going to read them today. I just want to show them. It says the Great Lakes Oracle, Fresh Water Energy Everyday Treasures. It's a bigger deck. Again, I'm not going to say much about it, but these are written by Colleen Footet. I'm not showcasing them today. I will in weeks to come. This is a personal author, a lady that's doing this on her own. And I just want to give you guys a head start if you want to go buy these cards, because I know you're going to love them. So I'm going to put them away till it's time to bring them out. But I did want to show them to you. Okay. So getting on with that, guys, getting on to it. Let's get to our wonderful book that I have been using for so long. The pages sometimes get a little frumpy, but I love this book. So not a lot to read today. Not a lot to read. Okay. It says, you are 3 beings. Ugh. Hard to wrap our head around in one. So it's you are 3 beings in one. And although all aspects of you, the soul, the mind, and the body are exactly equal, you can cause your physical self to experience pain and suffering. Yet this much is so. The soul will never override the body or the mind. Now, this is going to be a big topic. Good morning, Tim. This is going to be a big topic. And it gets really in depth and it gets really hairy and really it's clear cut and it's so clean and it's so beautiful and it's so wonderful to understand. But at the same time, it can be a lot. It's a lot to wrap your head around. Okay, so let's kind of get started on this. It says, you are the soul. The first one is the soul. Okay, we have talked so much about the soul because that's what we do. Okay. And matter of fact, I had a beautiful conversation yesterday about the soul. So the soul is your personal thing. Think of your soul as the actual essence of you, who you really are. You don't get to look in the mirror and go, oh my gosh, hello, soul, because you don't see your soul. Okay. That's not something you see. Your soul is within you. It surrounds you. It is, as we have depicted in pictures, like an energy source, or just energy is what it is, which is amazing. That soul is in constant communication with everything else out there. One conversation I had with somebody yesterday, because they said, correct me if I'm wrong, but only part of your soul is in your body. No, because they were in this belief that part of your soul was on the other side and part of your soul was this, and that became the twin flame. And I kind of took them back and I said, no, the soul is always, sorry, I got something in my eye. The soul is always you. It's within you. Think of your body as a car for the soul. We've talked about this before. And that portion of a twin flame is, and I'm going to have to bring on a dear friend again just to explain the twin flame so beautifully. But anyway, kind of going back here, your twin flame, or the other portion, quote unquote, of your soul, how we like to say portion, which isn't portion, it's our mate. It's our perfect mate, is a soul that's on the other side. Okay. Now, my mate is Josiah. Okay. He is on the other side. He is a very, to lack of better terminology, stuffy old professor. He won't like it when I call him that. But he really goes back to, his more happy time that I see him is really going back to, early to mid 1800s. And I see him in like an England professor type classroom and all this going on. He's very intelligent. He's got so much worldly knowledge, and he is literally my better half, I would say. With that being said, we never exist on the same plane together. We are never in bodies at the same time in life. Okay. He is on the other side. He is my counterpart. He is my equal on the other side. We all have that. And that is not somebody that you had in this lifetime and they passed and now they're on the other side. This is literally an opposite to it's a yin to your yang type of thing. But, and that's just to kind of finish that conversation when we looked at, so if anybody had that question, there you go. But the soul is literally that piece of us that really is the driving force to this body. It is what is pushing the gas pedal. It is what's getting things to go. Now, when we look at the mind, and I know a lot of people go, the mind and the body, it's the same thing. Well, it's not. It's two separate identities. Just like the soul is separate from the body, the mind is separate from the body. The mind is your consciousness, okay? It is not the brain. The brain is part of the body. It is your consciousness. It is really what is navigating, the body to do what it needs to do. So think about the soul being in there, but giving the directions to the mind and the mind running the body. And then you have the body, which is this physical thing that we so beautifully ride in. And some of us have body dysmorphia, and some of us just go, okay, we're great with everything. And some of us are old and some of us are young, but the body is just a shell. It's just a shell. Now, why do we need the body? Okay, we got the mind, which is consciousness. We got the soul, which is really the essence of our being. And then we got the body. So why do we need the body? And how does this all come together? How does this all come together? Hello, Courtney. Let her know, Courtney, that I'm close. I love it. I don't see her, darling. So hopefully she is there. I don't get to see everybody's names, unfortunately, in here. Good morning. So when we're looking at this, why do we need it all? Why do we need it all? Okay. Now I could really take you back to some biblical times on here, and not religious, but biblical. When I say biblical, it's really during that time of Christ. Okay. So we're going to go there. Why not? We're going to go there because it's probably the best way to explain it in a way that people understand. Okay. It really is. So when you go back to those biblical times, and I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade or what their belief is or what they were told or what they were read, this is just my truth, okay? If my truth resonates with you, great. If it does, I can give you some wonderful books to go look at, which are just phenomenal. Or stick with your truth. It doesn't really matter. The truth is the truth, no matter whoever it sits with, and there's really no great lie in the whole aspect. So when you go back to this, okay, and when we go back to biblical and we go back to Yeshua's time, or Jesus's time, as most people popular call him, we talk about 12 disciples, 12 men that walked with Jesus on this earth to go off and do his quote unquote bidding, to spread the word, to do all those beautiful things. Okay, we're going to go back there. And we always look at it as just 12 men walking through. Not entirely true. Do we have 12? Yes, we do. We had 12 men. But what we didn't realize, and what's not stated in that wonderful book because it was removed, was there was also 12 women. There has to be a yin and a yang. There has to be two. There has to be a balance. Masculine and feminine, they work together. Okay, they work together. Now, with that, because as we said, good morning, Cassie. I'm always going to mess that up in my head, and I know you're giggling at me. Anyway, when you're looking at, remember how I said we have to have a balance. We have to have something on the other side, another soul on the other side. So we have two in the body here. We got a yin and a yang here. You have to have the balance. So therefore, it goes from 12 disciples to 24 disciples to now 48 disciples, because we have to have the balance. We have to have the balance on the other side, on the afterlife, as we do on the earth plane. We have to have the balance. Why? Because this on the earth plane needs balance to grow. They need a body to grow. They need a balance on Casey. Thank you. Oh, so much easier, darling. As a grand reason morning coming. Okay. Anyway, too much for me to try to read right now. Anyway, so we're looking at this perfect balance. So when we're looking at this, I hope this is kind of helping to explain things a little bit. And maybe it's just getting really too depth for 45-minute discussion. But when you're looking at that, okay, the balance on the other side is in a constant communication with souls. Why? Because souls talk. They communicate. They need this balance. It's glorious. It's glorious. Now, the soul has got to find a way sometimes to get that information in. Why? Because we don't always listen. So the soul feeds into the mind, which is the consciousness, and it's your subconscious, and it's what's really starting to move your body. Now, as we've talked in past times, why do we need the body? Because the soul needs to get into a vehicle to learn and to grow. That's how it works. We need this perfect union to go around. If you look at a circle and you put arrows, what came first? The chicken or the duck, or the chicken or the egg? It doesn't really matter, does it? Because you're going to have one without the other. In this case, what came first, the soul or the body? Well, obviously the soul. The soul is there. It was waiting for the body to get into. It was waiting for the body to get in to have an experience. So here you have got two of those aspects. Why the soul needs an experience. It wants to grow. It wants to level up, but it wants to get promoted on the other side. However you want to wrap your brain around it. So the soul is here. And a body in a lifetime is created so it can get into it. So it can have those experiences. So it can have a better understanding. There has to be a connection between the two, which is now the mind. That consciousness that is in communication between the soul and the body. One feeds the other. You cannot have any one part of this disintegrate. Hello, Iris. You can't have any one part of this disintegrate. If it does, the body is not going to exist. It's not going to function. It's not going to continue doing what it needs to do. Now, I've spent a lot of time in, say, nursing homes and dementia units. Whereas I have a body and I have a soul, but maybe the mind isn't always there. And I used to tell people all the time, the place I wanted to work in a nursing home was always the dementia unit, the dementia Alzheimer unit, that unit. And people go, why? I'm like, it is the quietest place there is. It's absolutely stunningly, beautifully quiet. And I'm not talking about the voices that you're hearing, because you're hearing more voices sometimes and arguments and everything going array. It really can. But when it comes to the soul, it's connected to the body, but it's chose to move on. It's chose to just not be in the body. The body is still there for something. It's still there for good, whether it be the growth of the soul to experience this on some level, or maybe a caretaker to experience this, or a loved one to experience this. It's there for a reason. But the soul does not necessarily have to stay in that body. Think about the body's asleep. And when the body's asleep, the soul goes and plays. It learns, it experiences, it goes home. It knows when to come back. But it's a beautiful concept, isn't it? Isn't it a beautiful concept to know that you are a much more complex creature than maybe what you thought? It starts to open up the idea of what this life is about and why it's about it. Last month I had an astrologer on, Heather. Oh my God, she was amazing. And I will tell you what, with a little bit of knowledge she gave me or gave us, but using my chart has been mind-blowing for me. It has opened me up to the ahas of, oh my gosh, it is a huge piece to a puzzle that I needed. And it was mind-blowing. And I hope you all listened. And if you haven't listened to that show, if you weren't there for that show, go back into the podcast, go back into the archives and listen to it, because it was stellar. I think it was January 4th. And she used my life as an example because I literally asked her one question. Can you see a past life in somebody's astrological chart? And she says, I can see parts of it. I can see an idea of it. And hey, Lee, oh my God, Lee, you found me. I love it. Now, bookmark it. It was great to see you this weekend, Lee. But it was astronomically amazing to me because when she said she could see parts of it, she went on to say, for instance, within your chart, I can see you were some sort of great leader or some person that everybody came to. Everybody came to for advice, for help, for straightening up, whatever it might be, but you were constantly not bullied or badgered, but constantly being a source for everybody else. I went, okay, kind of get it. Feel that in this lifetime. And she said, but in this lifetime, you decided you needed a break. So I can see because of the last lifetime and probably lifetimes prior, you chose to take a rest period. You wanted to come back, but you really just wanted to get into a body and get some stillness and get some quiet and be left the heck alone. So even from the beginning of my life, from the time I was, in the womb, I created situations that would happen that would leave me alone. And I'm not going to get into my own personal life details, but I will tell you, my brain went, poof. No way. Really? Wow. And it made sense. My life now made so much sense. So many times that I've created chaos, not because I want the drama around me, but because I think my consciousness says if you create enough, you have a reason to escape into the darkness. You have a reason to run away and hide, which is what I've done most of my life. And it's only been recent years that I've went, I realized I've been hiding in plain sight. Why? And no matter what I've done, I haven't been able to wake myself up to come through out of that. So she was able to give me this information for me to go, bingo. My soul, although it came in because I've created so much in one life, so many experiences in one life to wrap up a lot, my soul wanted to go into hiding so it could literally do it for itself this time. So I could go in and finish this experience and this experience and this experience from multiple different lifetimes to finish growth that has been started elsewhere. In sense, some way giving the soul a break from the populace. But yet, feeling it was so much that it just had time to do. So it's kind of like going, wait a second, the soul is going, hey, we're going to keep the consciousness out of this for right now. We're going to keep the mind out of this. Because we don't want the mind privy to the plan, because this mind, this soul would go back to doing what it's always known. And it's beautiful to see how all three parts work. And what's more beautiful is on its own, when my soul decided it had enough of rest, and it's had enough, and it's ready to go back to helping, it's ready to go back to be that person. How my soul on its own has told the consciousness, open up for business. Start creating situations for the body to start showing up for other people again. And it's amazing when you start to separate the three parts. you start to get that beautiful answer as to, why am I here? What is my mission? What is my soul contract? Now, we always, I will tell you, so many people come to me and say, DeEtte, what is your mission here? Or what is my mission? What is my purpose? And I look at them, I go, you know what? Your purpose changes every day, every moment. What do you have to do today? When do you have to eat? That's your purpose. When do you have to do your dishes? That's your purpose. But what it is your soul is here to accomplish is a whole nother ballgame. And for myself, it was something I struggled with because I didn't understand it. I knew I was here because I really needed to wrap up a lot of stuff. I knew I'd jam-packed my life with so much stuff. And for the longest time, I will tell you what, I thought it was because I needed this library that was so large to help so many other people. So even my soul was like, hey, we're still going to help. We're still going to help. Or I should say the mind was. And as I've grown, I've gotten more and more pieces. But for the longest time, people have looked at me and said, DeEtte, I don't get it. Why hasn't your career blown up? And I went, I don't know. I think I'm doing everything right. I'm really trying to push to get myself out there, but I don't know why I'm not seen. I don't know what's going on. And it wasn't until a month ago when we had that little bit of tidbit that light bulbs went off and went, separate it. Separate the mind, the body, and the soul to see how it's all coming together. For so long, what we do is we are told we are one person. We're told, we go to church and we hear about, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But yet then they tell you that it's all one. But they don't tell you how it's all one. And it becomes confusing because nobody explains anything to you. Everybody leaves it out there because they don't have an explanation. I can remember going to a pastor and say, but if they're all three separate, and how are they the same? And he just said, it is what it is. So clearly he didn't understand. And then they add in that you are of God, that you are God, that you are this divine being. And that makes it more crazy because then again, it's messed up. So I think the start to understand all that is to understand your own body, to realize that you are not just a singular flesh bag walking through life. To have those answers, you really do have to separate the three. And it's not creating three different personalities. It's realizing that you are literally three different parts of one. Now, how do you start to figure this out? I know it's a lot to wrap around, and it sounds so beautiful coming out of my mouth. But then the question is, how do you start to deal with it? How do you start to figure it all out? Well, you take a step back and you literally go, okay, what am I going to do with this? I'm going to learn to meditate. I'm going to learn to sit back and meditate. Because I need to meditate to learn to connect to the soul. I need to learn to connect to that. I need to learn to connect to the higher consciousness, which is the mind. And you can literally separate those through thought and attention to communicate with them. It's quite amazing. And when you really get adapted communicating with them, you don't even need to go into a huge meditation. You can literally just take some breaths, relax, and go, let's connect into my soul. Let's get this done. What do I need to do? And allow the information to come down. And it's quite amazing when you start to let this happen. And then I would suggest, Even after you become very proficient in talking to your higher self, talking to your soul, to dig in a little deeper, to get a little bit more of an understanding, because we still have this wonderful brain, which is part of the body, that tries to wrap around it all, and it just goes, ugh, and puts the brakes on it. So because we're human, we need a proof in the pudding. We need to have that concrete, oh, this makes sense. I do suggest looking into your astrology chart. I do suggest you going back to literally why your soul wanted to come. Now, is it going to give you all the lessons in one? No. But one, it's going to help you to realize that you are more than one entity of a flesh bag. It's also going to give you the reasons as to why your soul would want to come back to Earth. It's going to give you an explanation of the life you've had. Because so often, and I will tell you what, at one point I was this person. I have heard those words, oh my God, I'm never doing this again. I'm never coming back. If you're telling me this is BS, nope, done. See you later, bye. Last lifetime. And knowing the little bit of information I know about my life now, my soul, I go, wow, how brilliant is this? How amazing is it that I could set aside a lifetime, which might just be a moment on the other side. Who knows? It might be more of a total recall thing, and I've just got something over a soul head that's popping a memory in for me. Who knows? Which is taking a moment. But to know I got to pick and choose. I got to choose to say, you know what? My biggest feat this lifetime is going to be thinking up new creations to get in the way from stopping me to help the masses. Until I've cleaned off my slate. Until I've woke up. Until I've understood enough. And it's been beautiful because as I go through this beautiful journey that this soul has created, has come a lot of wisdom, a lot of understanding that I never had before. And it's beautiful light bulbs. But don't get me wrong, it's also come with a lot more unanswered questions. And then the cycle begins again, to go back, to understand yet again, why did my soul want to come here? How was my mind playing in all this? And what direction are they going to turn this flesh suit to go? Who knows? Who knows? I just know that I'm not in it for the ride where I used to think. And I hope you no longer believe that you're just in it for the ride, that you're playing the cards that you were dealt. Because you aren't. You are constantly playing the cards that you want played. You are the person that's in control. Your soul's in control. Your soul is telling the mind, it's feeding the mind, and the mind is feeding the body. And it's all beautifully, divinely orchestrated because you are the one who is in control. You are the one that can say it's time to wake up. It's time to do what this soul loves to do. And it's time for me to start being seen and still be able to clean my plate. So I want you to take some time this week to go into some quiet meditation, to connect to your own soul, and then to connect to your consciousness, that higher self of you, and to see a little bit more of your story. With that being said, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have the 5 cards done. I'm DeEtte with School Through Spirit. See you in a few.
Are you ready to elevate your spiritual journey and embrace transformation? Our celestial guided pennants are powerful tools designed to support your spiritual growth. Infused with tensor technology and the energy of crystals, these pennants help you release what no longer serves you and opens the doors to new beginnings. Explore our angelic armor collection today at energiesofservice.com and find the pennant that resonates with you. Transform your journey. Embrace the power of angelic armor today.
Attention, curious practitioners in the realm of transformative experiences, holistic wellness, intuitive guidance, and metaphysical arts. Are you ready to expand your horizons and take your practice to new heights? Join the Edge Partner Directory, where your expertise can shine and your services can transform lives. We are dedicated to creating a community of practitioners who are as curious and passionate as you are about guiding others on their journeys of self-discovery, healing, and growth. As a member of the Edge Partner Directory, you will connect with a network of like-minded practitioners who share your curiosity and passion for exploring the depths of human potential, and showcase your unique offerings to a diverse audience of seekers actively looking for transformative experiences here, there, and everywhere. Embrace your curiosity and take the next step in your practice's journey to becoming an Edge Partner. Learn more at edgedirectory.net. Again, go to edgedirectory.net.
Welcome back here, guys. This is DeEtte here, School Through Spirit with the Edge Network. Oh my gosh, I will tell you what, this network is expanding and it's growing and it is amazing. I have to say, I love it. Hello, everybody on Instagram this morning. Also, super happy that you're here with us. Guys, I'm still not back on Facebook. Don't know what I'm going to do there. I guess it is what it is, right? So let's kind of go into the wisdom of the Oracle divination cards with Collette Baron-Reid. This is a 52 card deck and guidebook. I'm going to have to put the glasses on. This is a lot of little reading. So it says, Collette has expertly blended elements of traditional tarot and other ancient divination tools into a sacred communication system, wisdom of the Oracle. The Oracle, whose face gazes out from every card, acts as an intermediary. This 52 card deck and companion guidebook will allow you to interpret her messages about all aspects of your journey, with over 250 independent messages that can speak to an unlimited number of circumstances. Imagery of animals, the elements of nature, and other potent symbols will touch you deeply so that a soulful dialogue about your life can take place. Oh my God, my reading today is atrocious. The Oracle is waiting for you to consult her so you may receive answers and know the way forward to peace, purpose, prosperity, and love. God, you would think I collaborated stuff here. I don't. We just reach down and grab a deck, guys. That's what we do. We reach down and grab a deck, and I let Spirit do this. I would not know which one to pick if I got my brain into it. I will tell you what, it would take me hours to pick which deck should go with which, because I would be pre-reading the book with too much effort. I would be pre-reading the cards, too much effort. I'd rather just reach down, grab, and say, yep, this is the one this week, and write it down. Leave it the heck alone for a week. Yes, Collette is in this deck. Oh my God, I love that. By the way, Collette Baron-Reid is obviously the creator of the deck. Hay House is the publisher. Hay House, I believe, publishes most, if not all, of Collette's decks. I will tell you what, Collette has written she's created some amazing decks, some of which are my favorite decks. But I will tell you what, and before I even open this, before we even look at it, I will tell you some, if not a good portion of Colette's decks are not necessarily for the beginner's mind. Just so you know, one of her all-time favorite decks that I love is her map deck. I like the first and the second edition. but can be very mind-blowing, very mind-blowing. So sometimes it just takes started drinking every mispronounced word drink, lol. Lee, we both be drunk in about 5 minutes. So there you go. I'm looking at her book. It's a hefty book. So do I think there's 250 messages? I really do. Guys, no colored pages, no colored pictures, but even though there's no colored pictures, there's some pretty good detail you can still see in the imagery of the pictures, which is nice. There's some clarity in there. So can you get some information there just looking at the picture? Yes. Isn't as deep, as much do I think without the colors? No. But I do like it. It does have, like this card, it says 28. It's got the picture. It's got building blocks is the name of the card. The essential truth, it has an essential meaning. It has the oracle's meaning. It's got a relationship message. It's got a prosperity message. It's got a protection message. Yeah, it's got a lot. So you know what? Each card is going to come with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potential messages. I love that. So literally, this deck, if you're looking for, oh my God, what's going to happen with me financially or prosperity-wise, you can actually pick a few cards and just look at the prosperity messages. If you're looking at relationships, you can look at just the relationship questions. So it's there you go. She's really been able to kind of make this a deck that's going to make it a little, I think, a little bit user-friendly for a lot of people, which I love, which I do love. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to. I love the fact that you guys are all here again. I haven't missed everybody. I am glad people are finding me again. It's only taken almost 2 years, but you know what? I guess when I say, Lord, I'm ready to wake up and be found. Guess what happened last week? People started to find me. It's amazing. It's amazing. I love the fact by finding me, you guys are finding each other again. Unless you guys always knew where you guys were and I was the lost one, which is possible. So let's do this, guys. We're doing the 5-card stud. What is 5-card stud? 5-card stud is 5 cards I'm going to pick. At each one of them, I am going to read individually. And when I get done with all 5, we're going to go on to read them as a whole. Now, as we do this every week, you can pick 1 card, you can pick 2 cards, you can pick all the cards. If you really want, this is your year. Thank you, Courtney. As we do this, guys, if you have 6 issues, write your issues down. Put a number by each issue. That way you get essentially 6 readings in one. So there is ways to manipulate the 5-card stud, guys, and make it literally for you in the betterment. Hello, Stephen. Oh my God, I haven't seen your name in forever. I love it. I love it. If anybody else is on Instagram and you see Stephen Rose, go check out his site. Go check out Stephen. You will not be disappointed. He's an amazing medium. He's an amazing healer. He's a phenomenal teacher. All in England, guys. All in England. So go check him out. So let's get back to 5-card stud here, guys. It was like finding a needle in hay. I think, Courtney, what I had to do is go, Lord, I'm ready to be seen. I think that's what it was. I'm just glad nobody gave up on trying to find me. I appreciate you guys. You guys make my week as much as hopefully I show up for yours. So let's start with card 1. If you pick card 1, the thinker card, the thinker. I think even though I can look at these cards and go, holy crap, there's a whole lot going on. Should we pick? No, let's not use the book. I could use the book, but why? Why use the book? Let's look at these individually to see how we're working. So when I'm pick number 1 and I'm seeing the thinker card, I'm looking at that because what I'm seeing is a fairy. I'm seeing a fairy on a building block, and she's got flags and she's got symbols and she's got, ambiance of clouds and everything around her. But the big thing is she's in thought. And when I'm looking at this, I do believe if you picked card number 1, you have been thought for a long time, but you've finally taken it out of the narrow shell. You have been, up until this point, looking at your thoughts as here you go. I'm narrow-minded in this. How can I figure out this with the little bit I got going on, and really struggling? And I think what this card is just saying that, hey, here we go. You are now finally breaking out of that narrow-minded shell. You're no longer thinking small. You've opened this up. You've expanded expanded it. You've opened up and you said, what are all the possibilities I have that I can look at? And that is what this card is stating to me, is that if you pick card number 1, you are finally coming out of that small-minded shell that we all have, and you're opening up to all the possibilities because you're starting to see all the possibilities. What's wrong with the fairy being an answer or prayer flags being an answer? It doesn't matter where it comes from. You've just opened it up to say, universe, whatever's possible. And I love that for you. Card number 2 is building blocks. Isn't that cool? We pick that one up on the book too. Building blocks. Look at that. I love this. It lets me know if you pick card number 2, you really have been struggling in life. I mean, I'm not going to think things have been nasty in my head. I'm going, just been nasty, but I don't think it's that bad. But what I do think it has been is, I don't know where to go. I feel stuck, all that, not murkiness, but just a stuck feeling. And this card is saying that if this is where you've been sitting, if you pick card number 2, you are no longer going to be stuck. You are getting blocks. You are getting those steps out of the hole, and they're magically appearing. They're literally magically appearing. Like, you've been stuck in this hole. You've been stuck in this rut, and you're seeing these literally steps that have been formulating, not straight up, but one here and one here and one there. And they're all taking you out of this hole. They're all giving you pieces more to understand, to grow higher and taller, and to come out of the rut or the hole you've been in. And it's beautiful because they've always been there. The stepping stones have always been there. The blocks have been there, but you are starting to see them. And it's how you're being able to navigate out of things. So congratulations for everybody that picked card number 2. Okay, card number 3, yang. Oh my God, we're looking at balance here. We're looking at balance. I do feel like when I look at this card, I feel like I'm looking at, for some reason, the masculine. I don't know why I keep seeing the masculine, but we're balancing things. We're starting to look at it and start to go, wait a second. There is 2 halves of me. I do need a balance within myself. And I do feel like you're starting to realize that part of that is out of balance. And this card is number 3. It's literally looking at you going, you need to bring yourself back into balance. You need to get that masculine and feminine parts of you back on one level playing field. You've got to start to balance. It's kind of like you can't have an all carnivorous diet. You can't have an all carbohydrate diet. You do need a little bit of both to really make the body work in some fashion. Not necessarily carbs, protein. Let's just put it as protein, because I don't want to upset anybody out there. So, but it's telling me that you need to come back into balance. Start to realize that when you look at this card, though, when you look at it, you see the beautiful hands down below, and you see all those great stars, and you start to see this shoot up here, right? This shoot up. But look at what's happening. It's not going straight up on both sides of the ball. It's just going to literally in the middle and over to one half. It's not filling in here. And this card is telling me you need to fill in this little bit here for that balance. You feel in control. You feel like everything, but check your basis, check your foundation. You're a little offset. I can do that, Miss Courtney. Okay, tick tock, who's afraid of the big go clock? Sorry, card number 4. Peter Pan's in my head. So we're looking at TikTok. We're looking at time. It is happening now. I'm always laughing because in my head, when I hear TikTok, what is that? When you look at Peter Pan, you watch that movie, the pirate, he's all over the place, right? No big deal, not afraid. But all of a sudden you hear the tick-tock, because the clock is in the big alligator's gut. And it's close. Why? Because you can hear it. If this was just a clock, I'd be going, okay, we're looking at time, but it's the tick-tock part. It's a noise. It is right now. It is so close. It's about to jump up and hit you in the face. That's what the TikTok is about. Realize that all that you've been waiting for, all that you've been wanting, even if you don't know what it is right there for the grabbing. It is so close. It's going to smack you in the tush. It's so close. Freedom is coming, guys. Freedom from whatever it is that you've been looking at is coming. It's around the corner. And enjoy it when it gets here. And the last card is be flexible. Look at that. Contortionist, be flexible. When I pick card number 5 and I'm looking at this, you've been very rigid in the way you've wanted something. You've literally gone, okay, this is what I want to happen, and this is how it's got to happen. It's got to be A and B and C and step and this step and that step and every other step in order to be how it's going to be. Flex it out. This is your time to realize, to sit back and go, okay, this is what my desired end goal is for this portion. How you get there is not your concern. As long as nobody's being killed or hurt or maimed in the process, it's not your concern how it gets there. Open up to the universe to say, okay, here we are. Boom. This is what I want. Get me there however you want to get me there. That's not my concern. My concern is this is my goal. And this card is telling you, get off the rigidness of how you do it. Get off the rigidness. Nobody said you had to sweep the floors before you mopped them. There's nothing wrong with mopping the floor first. And then once it dries, going back and sweeping up the stuff. It's still going to be clean. All you wanted was a clean floor. Forget how you're going to get there, and that's what this card's about. So card number 1 was Thinker. Card number 2 is Building Blocks. Card number 3 is Yang. Card number 4 is TikTok, and card number 5 is Flexible. And when I look at all of these cards, this week is really like, oh, wow. You have got like bells and whistles going off in your brain because things are starting to make sense. Things are starting to go, oh my gosh. Wow, I can really have this. I just have to get out of the way. I've been taught things. I have to stop thinking I have to be all one thing or all the other. All I have to do is go, wait a second. The game plan has always been there. I've seen it all the time. I just have to open my mind and say, okay, how am I going to get this? Show me the way. And they're going to show you the way. And it's right there. It's right there. All you have to do this week is saying, if you've wanted something and you want it so bad, but you don't know how to get it, this week is saying, here you go. Here is the step by step how you're going to do this. What do you want? Reach for it. Who cares if you think you can have it or not? Reach for it. Say, this is what I want. You figure out how I'm going to get there, because it is sending you back information all the time of going, here's our steps. Here's our steps. Realize it's not going to happen the way you want it to happen. It's going to happen the best way it possibly can. There you go. There you go. I like this deck. This deck is easy. I will tell you what, for Collette Baron-Reid, this is a deck that is going to blow you away. Why? Because I did this without ever opening the book. Let's be real. I can do that most times. Not a big deal. You can also, but if you want that added assistance and you want a little bit more detail and you're not quite able to get to it, you can open the book to get one of 4 or 5 different ways to answer the same card. So I'm gonna give this deck really a 10 out of 10. I really do like this deck. So hopefully you do too. With that being said, guys, let's look at where I'm at this week. Let's look at where I'm at. You know where I'm at? I am in. Okay, Casey, Courtney, are you ready? Are you listening? And tell all your friends, I am coming to Onalaska Lacrosse this weekend. You got it, this weekend. That is exactly where I'm going to be. That's exactly where I'm going to be. I love it. Why? Because so many people have been going, where are you going to come to Lacrosse? Where are you going to come to Onalaska? Well, it is this Saturday is when I'm going to be there. I'm there with Beyond the Veil. I'm going to tell you the exact place in a second. I just got to write it down correctly because I failed to do that. There we go. I hit the right letters and it all comes together. So it is a Beyond the Veil Expo that I will be at. It's at the Onalaska Omni Center, 255 Riders Club Road, Onalaska, Wisconsin. It is awesome. We will be there from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. If you want to join the gallery, I'm doing the gallery this time. And as you know, we always have a blast when we do the gallery, because I always say galleries are as fun, as emotional, and as up touching as your loved ones are, and they always show up and they never disappoint, and I love that. And we get to have fun in the gallery this weekend. Yes, you do pay $5 to get through the front door of the Beyond the Veil, and the gallery is an extra additional charge, but it's always touching. It's always amazing. I'll also be doing individual readings there. I will be doing those readings from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. and then starting up again at 2 until 5. So you can come and find me in the gallery, or you can just find an individual reading. And if you're not going to do either, stop by and give me a hug. I'm all good with that also. I'm also all good with that, which is super awesome. We also have some other events that are coming up very soon. I'll be in Kansas City, Missouri, because I do have a week off. I do have a week off February 22nd. After that, the weekend after that, you will find me at a Missouri Paracon, and that I do believe is in Kansas City, Missouri. It's going to be a phenomenal event, and it is at the Emma Star Casino and Hotel, 3200 North Emma Star Drive, Kansas City, Missouri. Super amazing time. You have got literally Amy Bruni, Rusty Accord, Steve Gonzalez, Dave Tango, Chip Coffee, Adam Berry. Let me see. We got Dave Schrader, such a dear, wonderful friend of mine. I love Dave. Jeff Bellinger. You're going to love Jeff. Juan Mass. He's the paranormal investigator of Ghost Brothers. Aaron Seegers is there. Mariah Mayer. Now, Mariah and Russ, they are Expedition Bigfoot. You can still see them all over I believe they're on the Discovery Channel. Dustin Perry is there. Richard Estep will be coming back from England. Richard, an amazing guy. I love him. Mike Ricksetter. Oh, the list. Greg Layson, another. Oh my God. Josiah Darren, Sarah Lemos, Tim Ellis, Chris Williams, Rachel Stratton, Shane Pittman, another dear friend, Brian Murray. The list just goes on and on. It is going to be so awesome, so amazing. You are going to love this. What a great event. Every event I go to is amazing. I'm not even going to lie. But this weekend, you will find me again in Alaska, having a great time. If you would like to join my email list, please go to DeEtteUS, DeEtte.us, and subscribe to me. That will get you into the spooky nerd here. He really is. That will get you into subscription mode to me, to where when I start to send out email letters, which will be very soon, then I'll start sending mass emails of newsletters of where I'm going to be at. Not too horrible. I'm not that. We like once a month. There you go. Now, for Miss Lee asked earlier in the chat, where do we find the Edge magazine? The Edge magazine can be found one of two ways. Go to your local metaphysical store and see if they have it there free to give away. Find a place. If they have it on the bookshelf or on someplace, it is free for you to take. We send them magazines to them for free. You grab yours for free. It's a beautiful symbiotic relationship. If you do not know where a store is, find your favorite store and say, hey guys, get a hold of DeEtte. She'll give you a way to get the drop box for it, or you can reach out to the magazine itself. It is, I believe it's theedgemagazine.net. Or just research the Edge magazine, and it'll get you right to where the email is. And you reach out and you say, hey, they say, hey, I want to be a drop spot. They're going to fill out a simple form. Magazines will get shipped to their door. The last but not least, if you're lazy like me and you're like, this is just too much work, go to the Edge magazine and literally subscribe. Subscription to you is going to cost you a little bit of money. Why? Because it's going to do the processing, handling, and shipping to you. So it's about $6 every other month for a subscription, but it does come straight to your door. You don't have to go figure out where it's at someplace else. And I honestly think it's quite reasonable. Okay, guys, with that being said, as always, my schedule is open for February and March. Feel free to go in and schedule your readings with me, inquire about classes, email me your questions and your concerns. And I will be back next week here on School Through Spirit with the Edge Network. Thank you guys for joining me. Have a beautiful week. Bye-bye.
There are psychic mediums, but there is nothing like DeEtte. Let's face it, we all struggle time and again. But if you seek the clarity you deserve, then you need to seek DeEtte. As a master teacher, DeEtte studied under international psychic medium Lisa Williams. Together, they not only help DeEtte better tap into spirit, but also build a long-lasting relationship. So many psychics tell us what we want to hear, and that just won't cut it with DeEtte. She tells you what you need to hear. No sugarcoating here. To book a reading with DeEtte is simple. Just visit her website, DeEtte.us. That's DeEtte.us. And follow the Yellow Brick Road to connect with DeEtte. Don't just sit there and ponder those questions. Ask them and let DeEtte guide you every step of the way. You need insight now, and DeEtte can help. Just visit DeEtte.us. That's DeEtte.us.